Oh yes, my Straight Talk family, you hear that theme song and you know it is time for me to say good night to the world. I normally start right here. As it said that charity begins at home. So I'll say good night to St. Kitts and Nevis. And good night to the entire Caribbean region. And we're all over the globe. So I will say greetings to those in the Kittitian division and Caribbean diaspora. Wherever you are. Some of you I know are in Africa. There's some of you in Europe. There are a whole lot of you all over North America. And there are some of you as well in Asia. So I'm at liberty to say good night. I will say good morning and I will also say good afternoon and welcome to another edition of Straight Talk. And there are many of you who share the link, and for that I am eternally grateful because we get first timers. And if we do have first timers tonight, I want to welcome you and trust and hope it won't be your last time. And just to let you know that Straight Talk is a public service program that facilitates and promotes free expression of all issues of national interest and all issues of national interest, be they legal, be they environmental, be they technological, social, economic, and or political issues. On Straight Talk, you do have a forum to express yourselves freely. On this program, we try to raise the level of national consciousness. We try to raise the level of national discourse by alerting our people to their rights, to their responsibilities, and certainly to their obligations. My name is Ian Patches Liburd, and I give Almighty God thanks for blessing me with yet another opportunity to join you in conversation on yet another occasion. And just to reassure you who are always with me, and to assure you who have joined me for the first time, that as your host, I pledge to remain an untiring advocate of truthfulness. Because I'm guided by these words. We are called to be God's prophets, speaking for the truth and right, standing firm for godly justice, bringing evil things to light. So let us seek the courage needed, our high calling to fulfill, that we all may know the blessing of the doing of God's will. So for those of you who are joining me for the first time, and those who are always with me, I'm thankful for that. And let me reassure you that nothing, absolutely nothing, is watered down on this program. We do not attempt to make it more interesting. There's no need for that, neither by omission or by exaggeration. Straight Talk is not about sensationalism or creating excitement, especially at the expense of accuracy, because we always lean on the facts. And it is my bounden duty to present the unvarnished truth, as I always say, the plain truth, especially when it comes to transparency and governance in St. Kitts and Nevis. And this program joins us together with people across the Federation. We are joined together with people all over the world, in the diaspora, all around the world. And my Straight Talk family, I always want to thank Almighty God for helping us to understand, oh, how good and how pleasant it is for brethren to dwell together in unity. So let us therefore hope and pray for the day when we will all sing His praise together. And for the first timers, I must also inform you that Straight Talk is a participative program. By that I mean we include your calls and your emails. And if you're so minded to call in, the numbers are 663-6672. That's a local number. You can access that number as well. Of course, you'll need the area code, which is 869. Or there's an overseas number, 646-829-6672. Or for those who like the cloak of anonymity, I call it, we give you access via our email platform, and that address is Straight Talk Patches. That's one word, Straight Talk Patches at gmail.com. Those of you, or some of you, have the Alexa app as well. You can be heard live, or Straight Talk can be heard live, I should say, by Alexa. Just say, Alexa, play Massive Vibes Radio. A special welcome, my Straight Talk Junior Brigade. The youth are the future. So I say greetings to Dwayne, Tristan, Shama, Kevin, Rue, Jamal, Travis, Travon, and all the young ones who hail me up when they see me. And to that special lady in St. Louis, a very pleasant night to you as well. My Straight Talk family, we usually begin with our observations in review. And that's an integral part of Straight Talk, after which we'll move into my thesis. And following my thesis, I will include your calls and emails as mentioned earlier to allow your full participation. Yes, this program, you get an opportunity to have your say. And our observations in review highlight the current issues, do some reflection on questions or issues that we may have raised. We try to establish what was accomplished and what we have learned as a people, for example. And after our observation in review, we will begin our thesis for tonight, which is titled Bombastic Konris Discloses Chaotic Energy Plan. So don't change that platform, your link. Just spread the word that Straight Talk is live on your platform, your social media, whichever one you are using, my Straight Talk family. And for our first observation, I have not heard anything new or any information whatsoever on the issue we have been following with the Royal St. Christopher and Nevis Police Force, which, as I always say, is charged with the responsibilities to enhance the public safety and protect the trust of citizens. We have been following the issue as it relates to the cocaine that is missing. We have had no word from Commissioner of Police James Sutton, which is really concerning, as it lacks transparency, lacks accountability, and that does not speak well for the organization. But my Straight Talk family, we will follow that story until we hear from the police. And for our second observation, we look at the behavior of our Prime Minister, Dr. July, which borders on being unethical. As you can see, is also flies in the face of nepotism. The Prime Minister travels with his son, his loving wife, and his bagman. His bagman there in the rear, in the dark shades. His bagman pays all the bills. It's like his financial controller, Dylan. But many have been raising some concerns about the presence of Diane Prince Jew, as some believe it breaches both protocol and confidentiality when she attends some very critical meetings. And questions are asked, why is Dr. Jew taking his wife along to these official meetings? Because to many, it is not necessary, neither is she welcome. I've been following a story that during crucial meetings, the presence of someone who is not privy to the sensitive nature of certain discussions, to which his wife, she has caused much discomfort, and it is felt that a presence undermines the professional environment expected at certain high-level meetings. So, Dr. July, you normally get your brief about Straight Talk, so try to take some corrective action. I recommend to you, sir. As our third observation, or rather, yes, as our third observation, we can and will bring you up to date with that story we raised in relation to Senior Customs Officer Jervin Nisbet, who we informed you he was escorted from his job and his licensed personal firearm was confiscated by the police. Well, since then, Jervin has posted a public statement, which is on your screen. And it's quite clear, pellucid, and reads, yesterday afternoon, I received a telephone call informing me that the Commissioner of Police wants to see me this morning at 8:30 a.m. in his office. I attended at the stated time. A conversation ensued, during which the Commissioner told me that there had been a misunderstanding regarding the taking of my duly licensed firearm from me. The upshot of the meeting was that the Commissioner of Police gave instructions for my licensed firearm to return to me. My firearm has been returned to me. So we are happy that some form of resolution has been afforded to that awkward situation. And I'm almost certain I saw Jervin today reporting to work in his uniform, looking spick and span as usual. So that's good news coming from Jervin Nisbet. And our final observation tonight, my Straight Dog family, relates to another troubling issue, in that while July and his sidekick Mark Brantley the Snake fiddled with our safety and security, the murder rate for Nevis and St. Kitts continue to climb. Meanwhile, the National Security Advisor, who seemed to have been put into a back room by his son-in-law, the Prime Minister, but the NSA has been conspicuously absent from police press conferences, and he's been conspicuously absent, period. and we have been reliably informed, or it is reliably rumored, that National Security Advisor Lionel Woosie Rollins has no respect whatsoever for Commissioner of Police James Sutton. So he has refused to attend any meetings with him. Recall, however, my Straight Talk family, that NSA Lionel Woosie Rollins had earlier in the year made this prediction, my Straight Talk family. He made this prediction.
In 5 years, you will not recognize St. Kitts and Nevis because it will be such a wonderful place. All of this stuff we're talking about is going to be a thing of the past. Just take one look at it. If we had one murder a month for 2024, as terrible as it sounds, we will only have 12.
Well, my Straight Talk family, unfortunately, Straight Talk sadly reports another gruesome murder recorded last night in Nevis, and bringing the number to 28 murders for 2024 and 67 murders on the watch of Dr. July since taking office in 2022. In August this year, things got so bad that the snake Mark Brantley called for the reintroduction of the peace program. Believe it or not, the snake said this.
We must reintroduce an aggressive alternative pathway program. The new program, whether called Peace, Elevate, or by whatever name, must emphasize that those marginalized youth who genuinely wish to be productive citizens will be supported with jobs and economic opportunity.
And my Straight Talk family, the Prime Minister, Dr. July, who is the minister responsible for crime, but the Crime Minister thinks otherwise. The Crime Minister sees crime and violence as a public health issue. But he ought to concede, after 67 murders, my Straight Talk family, under his watch, as the Crime Minister, he ought to concede that this strategy has obviously not led to effective crime prevention. Looking at crime and violence from this perspective might have oversimplified the social, economic, and cultural factors that contribute to crime, potentially neglecting the root causes such as poverty, inequality, and systemic discrimination. Furthermore, this July administration, on assuming office, it immediately diverted resources away from necessary interventions and community safety, or community safety measures, I should say, it met in place. And this, no doubt, has undermined public safety efforts. My Straight Talk family, a change is needed. And a change is on the way. Change the change, as an old schoolmate of mine would normally advocate. But those are my observations in review for tonight, my Straight Talk family. And I move without hesitation to my thesis, which I said I have titled, for those who may have just joined us, Bombastic Konris Discloses Chaotic Energy Plan. And my Straight Talk family, energy, or electricity, whichever we want to refer it as, plays a crucial role in every country's development for several reasons. We can think of economic growth. We can think of infrastructure development. We can think of employment opportunities, because a stable electricity supply fosters job creation in various sectors, from manufacturing to technology, contributing to overall economic stability. The quality of life, or improved quality of life, because access to electricity enhances living standards by providing lighting, heating, and cooling, as well as powering appliances that improve daily life. Education. It enables the use of technology in education, such as computers and online resources, enhancing learning opportunities and outcomes. Healthcare services. Reliable electricity is essential for healthcare facilities to operate effectively, supporting medical equipment and improving patient care. And we can think as well of innovation and technology, but in summary, electricity is a foundational element for sustainable development, influencing economic growth, social well-being, and technology advancement in a country. But my Straight Talk family, when one listens to the minister with responsibility for energy, when one listens to the so-called engineer Konris, he comes across like an inflated rhetorical showman, always full of politics, with his high-sounding speeches, but with little meaning or depth in terms of its content. Like his other cabinet colleagues, he leaves his audiences with a sense of disillusionment, as their words tend to be empty promises or vague ideals. The so-called engineer Konris often prioritizes this new style of politics over substance, telling lies to mask a lack of genuine commitment or understanding of the issues at hand. A typical example of this inflated rhetorical showmanship by the so-called engineer was at the official commissioning ceremony of the 6 megawatt rented power plant at Nevis site of the St. Kitts Electricity Company, Skelec, my Straight Dog family. Just on Friday, these 6 generators that are being rented were commissioned. The so-called engineer tried to convince or persuade his audience that renting generators and investment in fixed capacity was a significant step forward in the July administration's ongoing efforts to enhance the island's electrical infrastructure and meet the growing needs of our customers, my Straight Dog family. He said this:
against the backdrop of present and emerging urgent daily power and energy needs for continuity of socio-economic functions on the island of St. Kitts, it is understood that Skelec must continue to operate and maintain its existing fleet of diesel generators until the sustainable energy transition has been fully achieved. It is important to note, however, that the recently renegotiated and reconfigured solar power and battery energy storage project, which by my understanding should be ready to start before end of year, does not eliminate the need for further investments in fixed generation capacity at the power station.
My Straight Dog family, in a convoluted attempt to justify the poor judgment of this administration, the so-called engineer intricately twisted his argument for the procurement of a new generator, my Stray Dog family.
In fact, the solar project, along with the battery, is intended to supply about 12 to 14 hours of baseload power per day. This then means that the other 10 to 12 hours a day must be supplied fully by the fixed generation capacity at the power plant. To address the woefully inadequate generation capacity at the power plant, the government, through the Ministry of Public Utilities, which I lead, has secured a USD 40 million concessionary funding from the Saudi Fund for Development toward the procurement, construction, and operation of an 18 megawatt dual fuel power plant coupled with battery energy storage system. As Jonathan mentioned. The agreement has been signed and the work progresses towards all necessary procurement with expected completion in another 24 to 30 months.
My Stray Dog family, as I said, it was intricately twisted. Because think about it. If the solar farm, or when the solar farm is commissioned, it would supply 14 hours of base load to the generation plant at the peak period, or during the peak period, during the highest demand, normally from 6 to perhaps 8 or 9 the following day, 14 hours. So after the peak hour periods, during the days when people are out to work and out of the house, the demand drops, and drops considerably. So don't be fooled, my Stray Dog family. And the intention of the Team Unity administration was really to go green, because another solar farm would just, and that was the intention, to have the entire country running on solar shortly, until, if we ever get to geothermal. But his argument was intricately twisted, as I said, because here is a government which is a sole subscriber of Skelec, entering a US $40 million contract. Yes, 108 million EC dollars, my Stray Dog family, as a result of the political maneuvering of the incompetent SOCA engineer who frustrated the solar project approved by the Team Unity administration over 2 years ago, my Stray Dog family. Dr. July and the SOCA engineer, Konris, brought in experts from the Caribbean Center for Renewable Energy and Energy Efficiency, CCRE, who highly recommended the project. One representative from CCRE, Dr. Devon Gardner, who reviewed the project, was also part of the SKN delegation to COP28 in the UAE last December 2023. I told you before that the advisor to the Prime Minister was honest enough to confirm this, my Stray Dog family.
It is a good project based on our own studies, calling in the expertise from right in the Caribbean to assess. It's a good project. Mm-hmm. They feel that it was properly assessed, and the costing was within the range of what it would cost anyway to do that.
And my Stray Dog family, note as well that the minister said, and I quote him, "By my understanding," those are his words, "by my understanding, the solar project should be ready to start before the end of year 2024. But this would be an 18-month project, my Straight Dog family, that will be completed in June of 2026. The 18 megawatt generation plant with concessionary funding, that's loan funding, by the Saudi Fund for Development, is expected to be installed, according to the minister, in 24 to 30 months, which puts us in March or April 2027. So my Straight Talk family, that's why he said the generators will be rented for 12 months in the first instance. Those are his words, my Straight Talk family. For 12 months in the first instance, the generators will be rented. That's what he said. Again, my Straight Talk family.
Thus, as we work toward that new 18 megawatt plant, plus the urgent need to service and overhaul our generators that have been overrun and are on the verge of collapse, plus the vulnerability of the aged generators, plus the fact that the solar farm will not be able to cover and is not intended to cover 24 hours of service, it is imperative to implement a reliable temporary supply in order for SCELEC to successfully achieve its goals. It is in this vein that SCELEC has entered into a 6 megawatt rental power agreement with world-class energy solutions provider Aggreko for a 12-month period in the first instance, during which SCELEC will perform much-needed critical overhauls on the bulk of its fixed generator fleet.
12 months in the first instance, he said, my Straight Talk family. And for that reason, we can project, we must project that the generators will be rented for at least 3 years at US $10.5 million per year, my Straight Talk family.
The government staunchly committed to continuously improving the quality of life for the people of St. Kitts and Nevis, and in particular in St. Kitts through access to reliable electricity, has guaranteed full financial absorption of all costs associated with this 12-month SCELEC Aggreko 6 megawatt rental agreement to the tune of approximately $10.5 million.
Approximately $10.5 million, my Straight Dog family. So that's approximately US $32 million, or EC $86 million. And that is more than the cost of the solar farm project. That requires no capital outlay from the government of St. Kitts and Nevis or SCELEC. They're the same. So my Straight Dog family, this soccer engineer Konris is not only bombastic, but he is always peddling politics. And that's why I said before, soccer engineer Konris Maynard is an inflated rhetorical showman who lacks depth or substance. Let's just look at the man as a 2019, my Straight Dog family. And on your screen, we always provide the facts for you. On your screen, it speaks to 5 years ago in 2019, my Straight Talk family. In 2019, we are showing the available capacity of the generating sets at the Nevis power station. As can be gleaned from same, 2 generators, they are in the red, account for 21% of the generating capacity, my Straight Talk family, which you can see is 44.9 megawatts. And these two generators were already beyond their normal life expectancy of 20 years. You can see that my Straight Dog family, the G1, 20 years, that's 5 years ago. So it is now 25 years old. And only 5 such engines were made worldwide. Under the last Labour administration, you remember they bought us this prototype generator. I'm sure you remember that. First or only version, Merleys, was testing. They were testing a prototype, my Straight Dog family. And you can glean from the table as well that, yes, there are some mobile cats in 2019. All those were bought. They were 2 years old. Remember, government came into office in 2015. And we bought some mobile generators to enhance the capacity, because fixed capacity takes years to manufacture. You can't find a generator, 6 or 8 megawatt generator, and you go on a shelf and pick it up. They are manufactured to specification. That's why the 18 megawatt generator, he admitted, would be completed or would be available in 24 to 30 months, my Straight Dog family. But, and I agree, the mobile containerized generators account for 18% of Skelec's generating capacity. And mobile gensets are not meant or not ideal for long-term operations of a power plant, as I was told that they are expensive to maintain. But these were bought under my watch as the minister, as an interim measure, my Straight Dog family, as an interim measure so as to ensure that demand can be met. So there is only one generator in the fleet that is beyond its predicted lifespan. And contrary to the big lie that was told by so-called engineer Konris. But what is sickening, my Straight Dog family, is pathological liars would make us believe that a minister like me never showed up for work because they said nothing was done for 7 years. Well, I can talk to 5 of those years. They cannot say I traveled the globe, as they do, and collect 400 US per day, for per diem they call it, to put into their pockets. But let me, my Straight Dog family, tell you a little about Skelec. My Straight Dog family, the St. Christopher Electricity Supply Act of 2011 established Skelec and provides for the privatization of electricity in St. Kitts, my Straight Dog family. And remember, the incompetent Minister of Public Infrastructure at that time said this about Skelec.
In 2011, the electricity department virtually was converted into a private company, 100% owned by the government of St. Kitts and of the government of St. Kitts.
Interesting. A private company owned by 100% by the government of St. Kitts and Nevis. I think what he meant, my Straight Dog family, is that Skelec is registered under the Companies Act, but the sole subscriber is the government of St. Kitts and Nevis. But in 2015, though, the records must reflect, my Straight Dog family, In 2015, when we assumed office, Skelec owed the PDB of Venezuela, as of 2014, a total of US dollars 18.6 million, or just over $50.2 million for fuel received to run the power plant. Prior to establishing Skelec, there was also debt. But this is what was owed by Skelec when we assumed office in 2015, my Straight Dog family. $18.6 million. $80,547,000. Put it to the nearest. We say $18.6 million, or just over $50 million. Prior to establishing Skelec, beg your pardon, there was also a debt accumulated by SKED, which is the St. Kitts Electricity Department, amounting to $45,212,838. That's US dollars, or approximately $123 million. That's what they owed the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela. And what did we do, my Straight Dog family? What did we do? Should Team Unity have said that it was a debt accumulated by labor, so we were not going to pay it? No, my Straight Dog family. We made arrangements. We made these arrangements, my Straight Dog family, to liquidate, to pay off the debt in 5 years, my Straight Dog family. 5 years in 10 installments, as you can glean from the PowerPoint there on your screens as well, my Straight Dog family. We agreed to settle that debt and ensure that they were paid. And this letter dated 18th November 2016 and written, to the Financial Secretary. Subject: payment terms of outstanding balance. It reads, Dear Mrs. Hazel, according to the email sent by Jeffrey Hunt of the Investment and Debt Management Unit within the Ministry of Finance on the 17th of November 2016, requesting the payment terms discussed in regards to the outstanding balance to PDV, St. Kitts Nevis Limited. The total confirmed amount of SKED's portion is $45,212,838.23. The payment made last month the payment arrangement, beg your pardon, made last month between Prime Minister Dr. Timothy Harris and Mr. Raul Likouzi as the president of PDV is as follows. A period, 5 years, yearly interest rate of 1.5%, a moratorium rate of 3%, and payments due every 6 months, total payments 10. Therefore, I am requesting of you to schedule an urgent meeting in order for us to meet. And that's signed by the General Manager of the PDV, St. Kitts Nevis Limited. And the second letter there, you can glean, it's basically saying the same thing, my Straight Dog family, and signed by Raul Likouzi, president of PDV. So those are the facts, my Straight Dog family. A debt-ridden company inherited. But if that was not bad enough, my Straight Dog family, instead, instead of paying this over $17 million owed to PDV, Asim Martin put Skelec and the government in additional debt. Yes, to put money into somebody's pocket. They purchased some smart meters, my Straight Talk family. You must have heard about the smart meters. I'm sure you did. And at what cost? They purchased these smart meters. Ask yourselves, my Straight Talk family, at what cost? Ask yourselves the question. At what cost did they buy these smart meters? You may ask the then Minister, Asim Martin. He said this.
It is a project that overall will cost in the region of almost 40 million EC dollars when it is completed. That is quite a large project, large sums of investment for a small company as Skelec, 40 million EC dollars.
Large sum for a small company, Skelec. Those were his words. Yes, that's true. But all told, my Straight Talk family, these three amounts, the debt owed by Sked, the debt owed by Skelec, and the loan for these smart meters, believe it or not, accumulated amounts to $213 million. And listen to this, my Straight Talk family. According to Asim Martin, the smart meters would have facilitated government and Skelec's renewable energy policy. How could that be, you may ask? But this is what he said.
I want to say that it has been a long journey. It has been a journey almost 9 months. We have been at it. And I'm glad to say that we have reached the stage this morning that we are about to sign this very important document, this important contract that would assist Skelec in the overall development of Skelec. It will do some fundamental things for Skelec. It will first of all put Skelec on the edge of technology, which in a sense would be the implementation of the smart meters, and that will definitely facilitate Skelec in doing quite a lot of things that they weren't able to do in the past. It is a project that basically probably is the first of its kind in the OECS region. So I want to congratulate Skelec for that, for being the pioneer and to being the forerunner in this particular project. I want to say also it will also facilitate the government's policy and Skelec's policy as it pertains to renewable energy.
How is that possible, my Straight Talk family? Facilitate Skelec and the government's renewable energy policy. And we understand that there is a move afoot to get rid of these smart meters that are causing many, many problems. But how was a smart meter expected to facilitate Skelec's renewable energy policy? Only God knows. In fact, my Straight Talk family, the revised National Energy Policy was approved by the Team Unity Administration's Cabinet in 2015. My Straight Talk family. The revised National Energy Policy was approved by the Cabinet in 2015. And like we always say, government is continuous. And the draft 2011, hear me, the draft 2011 National Energy Policy was prepared by the Ministry of Public Works, Utilities, Energy and Housing of the federal government of St. Kitts and Nevis. With the support of the Organization of American States, Ministry of Sustainable Development, and the German Public Gambia, says, under the scope of the Caribbean Sustainable Energy Program funded by the European Commission under the first funding cycle of the EU Energy Initiative between 2006 and 2011. With the support of the European Union, funded National Social and Economic Transformation Program of 2013, technical assistance was recruited to assist the government of St. Kitts with the revision and adoption of the national energy policy to facilitate the interpretation of alternative energy and include measures for feed-in tariffs and metering. So my Straight Talk family, as you can glean from the foregoing, we subscribe, we meaning the Team Unity Administration, subscribe to the concept that government is continuous. And with some amendments, our cabinet approved this policy, which started with the Labour government. We also amended the St. Christopher Electricity Act of 2011 to accommodate the feed-in tariff and geothermal production. We did this amendment, my Straight Talk family, when Team Unity assumed office in 2015. We could have done like the incompetent soccer engineer is doing right now. That is to shred the revised policy and introduce a chaotic energy plan. In other words, my Straight Talk family, why would he have to shred the revised national energy policy? There's a need for that, my Straight Talk family. But it's all about politics and he's incompetent. But with the advent of climate change and the emergence of renewable energy solutions, decisions had to be and were made expeditiously, my Straight Talk family. From the onset, I always advocated a strong view that as a country, we were well placed, given the fact that we are blessed with sunshine, we are blessed with wind, and we are blessed with two volcanoes, one on St. Kitts and one on Nevis. As a government, we understood that the time for action was now, my Straight Talk family. And even then, Minister of Environment, Eric Evelyn, said this at COP26.
Today, the delegation of St. Kitts and Nevis comes with one simple message. The time for action is now. We are here at a time when the entire world is languishing from the horrors of climate change, including sea level rise, extreme weather events, and dramatic changes in rainfall patterns. We are here at a time when coastal towns and villages and even entire islands face destruction, at a time when lives and livelihoods are at stake, all undoubtedly attributed to human interference. Yet, enough action is not being taken to remedy the situation that worsens with every second that the clock ticks.
And my Straight Talk family, this was a message St. Kitts Nevis took to the COP26 summit in 2021 at Glasgow in Scotland. The messenger, then Federal Minister of Environment, Eric Evelyn. And this summit brought the parties together to accelerate action towards the goals of the Paris Agreement and the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change. The Team Unity Administration, my Straight Talk family, fully understood that climate change was real. This administration fully understood then that climate change, as I said, was real, my Straight Talk family.
Climate change is real, and St. Kitts and Nevis has launched, during COP26, a more significantly ambitious revised nationally determined contribution NDC, proposing to reduce emissions by 61% by 2030 compared to 2010 levels.
So, my Straight Talk family, St. Kitts Nevis attended the 2015 United Nations Climate Change Conference, COP21, which was held in Paris. The conference negotiated the Paris Agreement, a global agreement on the reduction of climate change, the text of which represented a consensus of the representatives of the 196 attending parties. St. Kitts Nevis was one. At COP26 in 2021, 3 years ago, St. Kitts announced to the world our ambitious plans for solar and geothermal development, my Straight Talk family.
St. Kitts and Nevis will heavily invest in renewable energy, with plans for a 35-megawatt solar farm to be operational in 2 years, and we continue to aggressively pursue geothermal power.
Plans for solar plant in 2 years. That's what was announced at COP21 3 years ago, my Straight Talk family. St. Kitts and Nevis, my Straight Talk family, announced the ambitious plans. But COP29 is nigh and will be hosted in Azerbaijan next month, November 2024. 3 years after, what will St. Kitts Nevis report, my Straight Talk family, about our revised national determined contributions, NDCs? We committed to reduce emissions by 61% by 2030 compared to 2010 levels. And NDCs, my Straight Talk family, are at the heart of the Paris Agreement and the achievement of its long-term goals. But having listened to the so-called engineer, Konris, we must ask ourselves what we as a country can outline and communicate as our post-2020 climate actions, known as our NDCs. We need to pressure the government to reconsider its stance based on tribal politics. Geothermal won't be delivered now when one considers the performance or non-performance of the snake, Mark Brantley. In 2015, he got $7 million. Yes, my dear, $7 million for geothermal in 2015.
Unity took office in 2015. We got the geothermal project, 7.7 million.
Yes, in 2015, he got $7.7 million for geothermal, my Straight Talk family. Going on to 2 years now. We heard about a letter sent to CDB. We heard about the $70 million grant funding, or grant loan, I think it's called. The snake has not updated the country on what he called a funding gap. For months now, well over 6 months, he said this, my Straight Talk family.
The CDB funding is important to the project. There's some 17 million US dollars that is already there, just waiting for us to move forward. So I think that there's good progress on that. I've been in close contact with the Honorable Prime Minister on the funding piece, and he has traveled. I believe that he is leading a delegation to the SIDS conference in Antigua, and we hope that we'll be able to meet as soon as he's back so that we can get a better understanding of next steps in relation to the funding gap that we have and to which I would have already spoken.
But why is the funding gap not being bridged? Why? Has he not met the Prime Minister? But truth be told, my Straight Talk family, we cannot forget the legacy issues associated to the development of geothermal, which goes back to 2004, 20 years ago, my Straight Talk family. And you remember this, do you?
This project, this geothermal project, has been an exercise that has now occupied the minds of governments, and even through change of governments on the island of Nevis since about 2004. And so as we stand here today in November of 2017, we're talking about now 13 years that we have been trying to get to a point where we can move this project forward. I think the advantages of geothermal are well known. We're talking about clean energy, green energy, cheaper energy, and a renewable resource that really puts Nevis in a category of its own. If we can achieve what we intend to achieve here, it means that Nevis becomes fossil fuel free for this generation of electricity. It puts us really in a category of our own in the Caribbean and perhaps in the world in terms of being completely sustainable for our electricity supply.
20 years ago, my Straight Talk family, that's how far these legacy issues go back. But $400 million is required for this phase of the geothermal project. And the snake Mark Brantley wants $100 million for his airport expansion. $500 million. How many $1 million he wants for the expansion that's been going on for 7 years at the Alexandria Hospital? We don't know. But my Straight Talk family, compare the snake, Mark Brantley, with this inflated rhetorical showman and so-called engineer Konris Maynard, who lacks depth or substance. And we will all conclude that our future is in the hands of the wrong leaders. And we will get no place. And it must be of great concern, since this bombastic Konris disclosed a chaotic energy plan. And that's my story tonight, my Straight Talk family, and I'm not going to change it. I will open the lines and entertain your calls and your emails. When I do so, which will be momentarily, I anticipate that you will respect others, my Straight Talk family. And of course, to achieve that, you must first respect yourselves. Let us try to be fair to all concerned, and let us try to build goodwill and better friendships. Let us, my Straight Talk family, in the process of saying and or doing those things, let us strive to build a kinder, gentler St. Kitts and Nevis. With that said, at 5 minutes past the 9 o'clock hour, we go straight to the lines and say good night to this caller. Caller, you live.
Good night, Mr. Liburd.
Good night, my dear.
The thought for this evening. We need leaders not in love with money, but in love with justice. Not in love with publicity, but in love with humanity. I repeat, We need leaders not in love with money, but in love with justice, not in love with publicity, but in love with humanity. Have a great evening.
Have a great evening, my dear lady. I'll get sure I get that quotation documented well. We need leaders not in love with money, but in love with justice. Not in love with publicity, but in love with humanity. I hope I got that right, my Straight Talk family. As I go back to the lines and say, caller, you're live. How are you? How is the Bible man tonight, sir?
You are doing me some stupidness.
What I did to you again now?
I hear poop and again. Hello, sir. I hear you.
I am hearing you. I'm hearing you, Bible man.
You are? Well, not take on that package. You do what you have to do. No problem.
What I did to you,
good night.
Good night, my brother. Let me hear you.
And how are you this?
I am peaceful.
This Monday night.
I am peaceful. Is it Monday? Oh, yes, it's Monday night. Yes.
I have some wonderful things to tell you.
Yes, please.
But I ain't going to step too long.
Mm-hmm.
Now, in listen here. The Bible is the word of God. And the Bible covers the whole world. And listen here what he said. First Corinthians chapter 13 says, it said, though I speak with the tongues of men and of angels and have not charity, I'll be become a sounding brass and a timbrel cymbal. That's First Corinthians chapter 13, verse 1. Here Psalms 41 said, blessed is the man that considereth the poor in the time of trouble. The Lord shall deliver him. Now, I am reading from giving to passage scripture and a passage. But I am going to give you what the Lord said to us. Here the Lord said, Proverbs chapter 3. It said, in all thy ways, acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy pathway. It on the ground shall lean not unto your own understanding. In all thy ways, acknowledge him. But here 27 passage. Withhold not the good from them whom it is due. When it is in your power of thy hand to do it. You hear that?
Mm-hmm.
Hello?
Yes, I'm listening. I'm listening, Bible man.
Okay. Don't withhold the things from them who work hard, who really did supposed to get it. Don't hold your hand from them. He said, when you're in power, you're supposed to do it. You know when the Lord want to tell you? When you come out of power, you can't do it. And I am going to read Psalm 75.
Please.
Here it says, promotion neither come from the east,
Not the west.
nor the west, and you know it.
Yes.
And from the south, you know it. God said, He put up
Sets down.
and He bring down. That's Psalm 75. That is, God is a good God. And I can tell you something. There are things I can tell you now. God look after His people, them now. And so, who know what to hear?
Okay.
What God said.
Okay.
He can remove, you know.
Okay, Mr. Bibleman. Thanks a lot.
Because that is, Pharaoh didn't want to hear what God said.
Okay. I heard you.
But God will have a deliverer to bring His children out of Egyptian. And so the Egyptians were going after God's people. And God will have a deliverer named Moses. And God tell Moses, tell the people, the Israelite, you not to fear.
Okay, Mr. Bibleman. I got you loud and clear.
Okay. You have me loud and clear.
Yes.
When I can't have me loud and clear, me not gonna further than this. See you.
Thank you. Thanks a lot for your spiritual intervention at all times. The Bibleman, my Straight Talk family, gave us a little sermonette tonight, but that's all part of Straight Talk, no doubt, as we go right back to the lines at 13 past 9 o'clock. Caller, you live.
Mr. Straight Talk.
How is my brother from another mother?
Well, your brother from another mother is good. Abracadabra. How are you, my brother?
I am peaceful.
You really do. Mr. Straight Talk, it is true that they're going on raise. I was listening to your program there yesterday, so because I was that busy. Is it true that they're going on raise the electricity?
Well, for the commercial customers, obviously this affects those who are residential as well. They are now applying the fuel surcharge, which used to be absorbed since in Team Unity's time and in Labour's time. They actually pay that from the SIDF. So
now they're going to stop pay that then, and then the people going to have to pay it.
Yes.
That's what they're saying.
Yeah, the commercial customers, the businesses.
My whole. Well, hey, what can you say? You just got to do what you got to do.
Churches that has to pay too. I didn't realize the churches were categorized. I found that rather strange.
I think I remember they said that Liburd said that the church is going to get a haircut and then not get something. Somebody was saying. I can't remember how it went, but they try to tax the churches or something like that. So now the church is going. Well, that means nobody's going to get away from the iron hand.
Not at all.
Well, what can you say? Mr. Straight Talk, I just want to thank you because I didn't pick it up nowhere else. I hear it on your program and says that they're going to raise it. The next thing, my brother, you that guy had asked you if you know how many people did the Sergeant Major travel with the Dr. July. So I didn't remember hearing you say that so much and so much went. So I guess you didn't get an account of it, how many went.
I apologize for that. I overlooked it.
Yes, and he asked you to do your homework on it, and I thought that he would have asked you if he just said something. In fact, he was really having a good time with you, so he didn't really remember. But I would really like to know how much he have.
I think I counted 14 in a picture. I don't know if that was all of them, but I haven't seen.
What?
I haven't seen
14 people?
I haven't seen the official list to be part.
I don't know, Mr. Streetalker. He's either me wrong or you wrong something. I mean, he giving every country how much every country have and saying it's send. I don't know. Something is that right, but do what you gotta do because we want to hear.
Okay.
Understanding not me alone. So I just want to greet my people tonight. Good evening, my lovely niece there in St. Louis and Texas Queen. How are you? My brother Dame Delville George Reed and my brother Culture. It's good, man. I was thinking about you all day today, guy. If you had your wheels, we'd have been in trouble, but you don't have no wheels, so they saying they don't bother with you. They couldn't just do what they gotta do. But God is good. Mr. Streetalk, you're doing a wonderful job. The people love you. And good night, my brother dear Ellis. I don't know how he's doing tonight, but God is good. So my brother Streetalk, you're just going to have to do what you got to do because the people are depending on you. Understand? For bringing all these things. I listened to the IZ News tonight and I didn't hear nothing about, no. Maybe I'm wrong because we're going to listen it tomorrow to make sure that they said that they had a murder. So if you didn't say it, I would have never hear it. So you see kind of information you are bringing to the people. Mr. Streetalk, you are doing a wonderful job. My brother, Vaya con Dios, abracadabra.
Abracadabra, abracadabra, my brother there in Pennsylvania. Let's take a few emails. I want to congratulate Lawyer Azad Gums, reads this email, on his maiden political program last night on YouTube. It was a great show, emanating from a brilliant, dynamic, and dauntless young prospective political candidate who is not afraid to confront this corrupt administration head on. I knew WinFM was going to get rid of you from Island T because of your frank and outspoken views. And I believe, Azad, that the man who always touting that he ain't afraid of anybody was the catalyst in your removal from Win FM Island T morning program. Bearing in mind his connection to that station, say strong, Azad, he hurt them bad. Surely they have to feel worse than you. For your hands are clean and uncorrupted, neither are they blood-stained, reads this email. Mr. Liburd, I understand that the prospective smart hospital, if ever, and whenever it is built, will be designed to admit smart patients only. Here is this email. Sam Kondo, you could say what you like, for your bread is overwhelmed with butter inside out. The $500 that you and your Labour Party denounced in the election campaign and promised to raise it to $1,500 has ceased, and you have the audacity and temerity, Sam, to praise the Prime Minister in his presence last Friday afternoon on the radio, telling him it was a good thing that he stopped the payment of $500, for it was just a handout, and people must work for what they want, because when you were going to school, you worked for the Labour spokesman selling newspapers for 25 cents a day. Well, Sam, your comparison then and now is groundless. Today, you're a millionaire, plus you're receiving several $1,000s every month from Social Security, yet another from the government pension fund. And still, as a hangers-on, you're still collecting an advisor payment, which is $10,000. It is all well and good for Sam to suck all the honey juice out of government and deprive the poor little man of his little $500 that Timothy Harris availed on to him with that email. Mr. Patches, sir, You remember once upon a time, there was a radio program on Win FM every Tuesday night called Operation Rescue. And you remember when Team Unity Government was in power, the founder and producer of this program was constantly talking about corruption, and how it is systemic in all government offices in the country. He remembered, Patches, that he brought a Lebanese Christian doctor to join him on his program to accentuate and emphasize the seriousness of corruption in government. They gave the country a dynamic lecture about corruption, giving the country the impression that they were very serious paragons of virtue, and we all must abide and comply to what they are saying. I am wondering, where are they today, when there's so much rampant corruption and corrupt practices taking place in government? They all gone silent. Don't tell me that they haven't heard of the Prime Minister living in a government house and still collecting housing allowances for his private house. Don't tell me that they don't hear about Mr. Bradshaw's house in Fortlands and the corruption of government funds associated with it. And what about the millions of dollars spent on these rented electricity generators and the kickbacks? And what about these black water tubs in Monkey Hill that followed and ended up in their pockets? It is believed that some people who had strident and potent voices to call out Team Unity when they fell short are now being paid to turn a blind eye on corruption. What a sordid state of affairs in St. Kitts and Nevis, reads this other email. Patches, I wish to inform the country that Dr. Drew and his government will not get any project done. They will not get the 2,400 smart homes built. They will not get the Bombastic High School built. They will not get the smart hospital built. The MRI facility will not be completed. The Elevate program will be completely a thing of the past. The PAP program will end completely. There will not be any resurrection of the CBI program. It will be run into the ground. There will not be any more dividend payments. There will not be any more double salary. All the money done. Don't look for anything from this government. The balance of the money in the treasury is for the ministers to travel overseas. Every time Dr. Drew and his cabinet travel, they are robbing the citizens, they're robbing you, the citizens, of your hard-earned money from the treasury, so no capital projects will ever start. People, Dr. Drew and Labour don't have any time to waste on you. You voted for them and their friends to travel the world, get big positions, get on boards, while you and your family struggle to pay bills and find money for food, even $500 they want to give you a month's time. Poor are you. Better with Labour, reads this other email. And my Straight Talk family, if you have just joined me, we are looking at our thesis tonight, Bombastic, Konris Discloses Chaotic Energy Plan. He has actually introduced a new national energy plan, my Straight Talk family, which would cause us problems sooner rather than later. My Straight Talk family, we just learned a few days ago that the soccer engineer is renting 6 megawatt generators at $10.5 million annually. And he said, mark these words, he said in the first instance, this is what he said,
The government staunchly committed to continuously improving the quality of life for the people of St. Kitts and Nevis, and in particular in St. Kitts through access to reliable electricity, has guaranteed full financial absorption of all costs associated with this 12-month Skelec Agreco 6-megawatt rental agreement to the tune of approximately $10.5 million.
$10.5 million, my Straight Talk family. And mark my word, if that solar farm project ever gets started, he said he's been told that it should start by the end of the year. And that would take 18 months. So that goes right into 2026. The 18 megawatt generator would take 24 to 30 months. That puts us now into 2027, my Straight Talk family. But let's go back to the lines and thank this caller for holding. Caller, you're live. Hello, caller.
Yeah. Thank you, Patches. Good night, Patches.
Good night, my brother. How about thou, culture?
I am great, man. Thank God for you. You know, you are like the wind, the breeze, the sun, the air, the moon, the star, the sun, and the sea water to everybody here. And let me say good night to go to Straight Talk, Abracadabra. And you know it well. If my wheel they don't come out of the shop, me alone would go on the street, because Patches, it is more than time. You're going to tell me that it's 2 years now and 2 months since July, and his cabal them gone in there. And from the moment they gone in there, they haven't done anything good for the country. Nothing good. All is talk. And he doing this thing every day. He getting more and more leverage and energy to do his nonsense. Because Kittitians need to act like the people them who strike on the long shore up in the States. And we know what the reason why they put it off, the demonstration. Because people who know the rights, they know well then that nobody at all can take away their rights from them. Otherwise they're in a lot of trouble. I don't know what Kittitian is afraid of. Well, I want to say good night too. Good night to my good friend who don't call me every week. And that is XSSO. Give me a call after the show here, please. Now let me go to the custom officer guy. Mr. Nisbet, I don't know you, but I don't have to know you, but according to what you stand for, I know you by that. That is, only Jesus Christ will tell me that they did not take the custom officer gun from him to check it to see if it was involved in anything negative. Well, that was what the man called it, the commissioner of police. Well, misunderstanding. But the man is a custom officer. He has a right to have that. The man ain't gone out in the street, they're going to shot in the ear after nobody. But because of who the man is, and he don't stand for no nonsense with all your stupidness, all of them there who get work, big position on the July, all of them a bunch of hypocrites. And the one they ain't gonna shame when he don't say all manner of evil about Dr. Douglas. Dr. Douglas is bad for this country. And in the dead of night, he went across the Nevis in a fishing boat. Hurry for power. Jump on the boat. Almost drown. When he done, he come down and say, we together again. We together again. And then you want to condemn the program that is helping to feed poor people who are depending on the little meager $500. And you're going to talk about that was what we used to talk about, whatever we call it, but you big pension what you're getting and all the perks what you're getting, is sweet you. But what come wrong, it ain't going to last for long. And I want you to tell the people them what you know about the dread from the village who get shot after he wanted to know when get back his money. Patches, I'll come back with some more. Thank you so long.
Thank you very much for your very spirited interventions at all times, my Straight Talk family. And it's 9:30, right to the bottom of the hour. If you are joining me for the first time, I trust and hope it won't be your last time. And just to inform you that Straight Talk is heard every Monday and Thursday from 8 to 10 in the PM. And tonight, we are looking at our thesis, which I've titled Bombastic, Konris Discloses, Chaotic Energy Plan. And this is an unofficial plan, because in fact, we do have, and the cabinet in 2015 adopted this particular plan, my Straight Talk family, which was first introduced by the then Labour administration, funded by the European Commission way back in 2014, that national plan, which we amended. But if you actually read this document, my Straight Talk family, you will find it to be very interesting. But I'll get back to that. In the meanwhile, I'll go to the lines and say, caller, good night.
Mr. Liburd.
Yes, my dear.
When Mark was in opposition, because you know he ain't in no opposition right now, he with Douglas him. When he was in opposition, he even said that he had 10-point plan. What happened to that? Have a great evening.
That's a short and to the point. He had a 10-point plan. And he also has been dealing with geothermal for 20 years. As I said, and I promise you, I'm committed, while we heard that caller, I'm committed to do a show strictly on Nevis. I should have done it already, but I can assure you that by Monday, God's willing, next Monday, we will look at Nevis and what's happening in Nevis. Not just geothermal, but everything around Nevis. We know that geothermal is not going any place, at least not in the near future. Because for 20 years now, there's been all these legacy issues.
This geothermal project, has been an exercise that has now occupied the minds of governments, and even through change of governments on the island of Nevis since about 2004. And so as we stand here today in November of 2017, we're talking about now 13 years that we have been trying to get to a point where we can move this project forward. I think the advantages of geothermal are well known. We're talking about clean energy, green energy, cheaper energy, and a renewable resource that really puts Nevis in a category of its own. If we can achieve what we intend to achieve here, it means that Nevis becomes fossil fuel free for this generation of electricity. It puts us really in a category of our own in the Caribbean and perhaps in the world in terms of being completely sustainable for our electricity supply.
And remember, that was 7 years ago. But remember as well, my Straight Talk family, that just last year, there was a resolution tabled in the Parliament to establish one power grid. And there was $17 million apparently not grant funded, but loan grant funded, I think it's called. And there was a song and dance about it. Then suddenly we heard there's a funding gap. My Straight Talk family.
The CDB funding is important to the project. There's some $17 million that is already there, just waiting for us to move forward. So I think that there's good progress on that. I've been in close contact with the Honorable
Prime Minister on the funding piece, and he has traveled. I believe that he is leading a delegation to the SIDS conference in Antigua, and we hope that we'll be able to meet as soon as he's back so that we can get a better understanding of next steps in relation to the funding gap that we have and to which I would have already spoken.
But that was approximately 6 months ago when he went to his meeting in Antigua. We haven't heard anything from the snake, Mark Brantley. But these are some of the issues we will address as well come Monday. But let's go back to the lines and thank this caller for holding. Caller, you're live. Hello, caller.
Thank you, Patches, again. Now, Patches, the 10-point plan that the lady spoke about, what the snake in Nevis say he had. Well, he got a couple more to complete the 10-point trip up and down the place with July. That is the 10-point plan he had. And she right, he's not an opposition. He's what you call a Judas. We all know what Judas do to Jesus. Sold Jesus Christ for 30 pieces of silver. And what the benefit him? He commits suicide. So all of them there who can support July and he cabal them with the wrongness, the wickedness, what they're watching people in the face and doing to us. All of them they're gonna end up like Judas. All of them they just fit to go on the foot where the road is breaking in. Put them there and come on with a dinner in bulldozer and shove all of them over there. Because that is what they work on this out here. They work nothing else. Now, this cocaine business that was in the police headquarters, where police supposed to be the most professional security people and this, in the community. And that cocaine, it get foot. I don't know if you run, I walk, I jump. But the person who stole the cocaine out of the police safety vault is a dangerous person, a corrupt person. So how could anybody trust the police and tell them that they see a man kill a fowl on the road, chop it up in the road and left it there? Nobody could trust them. Because you can tell me, in the police station, they had a clock on the wall over the canteen in burglar bars. And I asked the police in there because it was my brother from Nevis. I said, wait, why they got the clock in the burglar bars? He said, well, me boy, it's people in here too, you know. I said, okay, and then from there, I put them in a different category. So let them come out and say where the cocaine gone. Because if they catch a small poor man on the street with just a 1 lead bag, they're gonna make it. They're gonna blow it up big, like he got a pound. So therefore, what you gonna do to the small man, do to the big man? Come out and tell the people then why you know about that. Because things like that, the key is for those vaults not supposed to be hung up on any nail that anybody could see it. Somebody in high clothes, khaki clothes or big clothes, supposed to have that key. That portion of cocaine. Anyway, Patrick, brother, I can talk as much as I want. And when I get fed up, I'm going to stop. Because we're talking too much. 67 murders in 2 years and 2 months. 67, 2 years and 2 months. And for the year, we got what? We got 28. Come on. With all these people, you're paying them load of big money for security this and give you advice for this. Well, what are they doing? They're giving you advice to tell you who you must go with when you're going with on any meeting. They're like these big numbers to travel with for what? Come on, boy, you gotta stop wasting the taxpayers' money. Anywhere you're going with the mistress and your son. But what they be to the government? What they doing for the country? What are they doing? Boy, are you trooping this Taliban? Taliban Joe, stop it. Anyway, Pat, it's good night, brother. I don't know. I just don't know where I'm with these people. See, I need to go up on the road, protest, demonstrate. If I ain't show them that we are displeased with the behavior, they're going to smile and grin every day, and they're going to get energy to continue until the election come close by. So what are you going to do? Wait until the election close by? In the last 3 months, we go, Panny Wood, so we're going to demonstrate? Man, you stop afraid. Stop it. Have a good night, Curtis. Thank you, man. I get into emotion.
Thank you very much, my brother. Just be calm, you know. Whatever is the will of God, remember, so will it be. The kickbacks government is the caption of this email, which reads, "Good night, Mr. Liburd. They clear the land for the invisible smart hospital. Someone gets $200,000. It's all about kickbacks, underhand transactions and money for their friends and supporters. It will take another year for us to get official plans for the hospital. So why is Dr. Drew trying to fool sensible people? Those lands will be cleared another 10 times before we see any hospital," reads this email. "Good night, Mr. Liburd. I am a Nevisian by birth, and it appears the worse Mark Brantley treat Nevis, the more Nevis vote for him. Mark cannot manage money. Every project he started had failed. I don't even want to go back to Nevis to live because I have fear they might not have adequate health facilities in the event the worst happens. Nevis is a beautiful place, but I'm not going back there while Mark is in power. Nevisians, please send home Mark Brantley. He's making himself rich with all these incomplete projects and can't be accountable for the money while we can't get land, house, adequate health facilities. Send home Mark, Nevisians." Let's go back to the lines. Caller, you are live. Hello, caller.
Hello. Okay.
So.
This is the Major.
Mr. Major, how are you?
How are you? I'm happy. I want to ask you a question. You know that I don't want to, and that's a teasing, you know, but you know, be from your tongue. What are the characteristics of a leader? What are the characteristics of a leader? What I know about it, you know, we have authoritative leaders, and we have permissive leaders, and we have persuasive leaders. But to be a good leader, you have to be loyal, you have to be enthusiastic, you have to be alert, you have to be dedicated, you have to be educated, and you have to be resourceful. You got to be steadfast, you got to be humorous, and intelligent and progressive. But I don't know what's going on, Patrick. I've been in the military for a long time, and I've been with good people, and good people, and I learn a lot. And sometimes I just wonder what's happening. I don't know if you can help me with these things that I tell you about. I prefer to be a progressive leader. What do you think?
Well, a consultative leader as well is...
Consultative what?
Consultative. One who consults.
I don't think that fit. You think so? I don't think so.
You don't think so?
You consult. No, you're consulting all the time. Once you are progressive, you don't have to consult two people. You put it on the floor, and you're enthusiastic. If you're enthusiastic, what you did in consult, I think that consult is a waste of time. You don't think so?
Well, if you put it to the floor, you're consulting, aren't you?
Well, however you want to call it consult, I think it's just that I'm just trying to aware. I'm actually letting you aware that X, Y, A, Z. The awareness is what we're dealing with. The awareness.
Okay, but at least you should have integrity. Did you mention that?
Integrity? No, I didn't say integrity, but I mentioned intelligence.
Yes.
And progressive.
Self-awareness, courage.
Yes.
And of course, respect.
Yes, of course.
And be like Major.
Well, I have been training. I have been training.
Be like a Major Jones.
Yes, I am. Yes, and I had good training with good people, and I went to one of the best schools in St. Kitts.
Mm-hmm.
I went to one of the best schools in St. Kitts. Don't let nobody fool you. The basketball school on the William Ferdinand. I was fortunate enough that I didn't reach after we reached fourth standard. He had made us class called Special C. So I didn't get to go to fifth and sixth. I moved from Special C straight to seventh standard.
Okay.
Yeah. There was only that this man was a giant. I mean, what I learned, I take on the drain, and I'm willing to assist anyway I can. Because leadership, you have to be persuasive. You have to be persuasive. You know that.
Of course.
You have to be persuasive, man. And you see, I mean, people speak on the way because sometimes they're over. Sometimes they're frustrated. But we have to sit down and get things organized by.
So tell me something, frankly.
Yeah.
What do you think about the current leaders today?
Well, as a thing there, I prefer to hold that in abeyance, and I prefer to hold that in abeyance.
Any reason why?
Well, it is, as I say, it means we have to aware what's going on, man. We have to aware what's going on. I mean, the awareness has to be there. What's the most thing? We have to create an awareness among ourselves.
You want self-awareness, yes.
Yes, man.
So how much more time you need to analyze the performance of the leaders?
Well, I don't want to job sleep on it. I have to look. I don't want to job sleep on it, but I don't want to job sleep on it.
What happened? You afraid the commissioner come for your gun or the AG come for your telephone?
I'm not gun. I'm not gun. Anybody who has gun, they could get a gun.
What are you afraid of, Major? You afraid the Lucifer come for your telephone?
No, but you're talking abstract now, man. You're talking. Who take my telephone? You're talking abstract. I'm a son of this side, you know. I born and bred you. I guess the gentleman born and bred, but I don't have any problem with nobody. I just say what I think, since that I have a little bit of education, right? That's all.
Okay.
And maybe you take care. We'll talk sometime.
Thanks a lot for your contribution as usual, the Major. Jones. Fallout, Major.
Okay. Okay.
Let's go back to the line. I want to thank this caller for holding. The caller is 948. You're live.
Good night, Brother Patches. Good night, all the listeners.
Good night, sir.
Of the world. I just can't say one spot. The whole world is listening. I would like to put a page in Major book. I know he knows it, but things were too numerous to mention. I think a government should be empathetic, put themselves in the shoes of everyone when situation has brought forth or come forth. Also, a government should be proactive, not just feed off of what is within and narrow it down to the treasury, but go getter to put and help and produce in the treasury, not in, so that it will be fruitful moving forward for the future, not extract. All right, let me move forward. Now, in respect to Konris and his archaeology, I don't have that word in the dictionary, but in respect to the generator issue. Now, we got to look at a broad spectrum. In renting these generators for 1 year at a cost of $10,000 US, which forecast for 3 years, that's $30,000 US. How much would a generator cost?
It's 10 million, eh? Not
hold on, 10 million.
10 million.
10 million.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry. I'm short selling. So that's 30 million for 3 years. How much would a generator cost, even if it were to go on a credit and interest paid? And to be owned, because if you purchase it, it will be yours, but you rent it, it's not yours. And I always tell people, leasing a car will not be yours. How about you buy it so that it will be yours? Leasing it, you're only trying away money in the long run. What would you benefit? Listen, you are running the country with self-impulse, and I don't know if you are really sitting down and consulting with each other before you all bring forth your archaeology. And I'm dropping word, okay? Okay? I am not an economist, but I sure know how to manage money, okay? You all don't know how to manage money. You all spending. Why don't you all pass a budget and give every citizen of St. Kitts on the ground right now something sustainable so that they could be more productive for themselves and entrepreneurship? You are using up the money and talk. Are these monies really going to come through to get these generators rented? I'd rather not you do that. Think about purchasing a generator which will be more benefiting to the country than when the time usage is up, they will be recalled and go back to where they come from. Is you all renting to own? Are they renting to own? Or they renting for that short period of time and then back in the same bullcrap again?
The difficulty, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but just for the benefit of the listeners, of the viewers, is that the generators, the fixed capacity generators as they refer to, you just can't go and buy them off a shelf, you know. Take time to manufacture them, and they manufacture them to certain specification, to specs, as we say. So I think that is the issue that is confronted with. As you said, it takes 24 to 30 months to manufacture them, this particular generator.
Okay. Yeah. So they are waiting for those generators to be manufactured, and they estimate approximately 3-4 years, right?
Well,
so in the meantime, they're
2 years and a half, well, 3 years, call it that, yeah.
So in the meantime, they're going to rent. Well, for so long.
Well, remember he I'm sorry again to interrupt you, but remember
no problem.
He wanted to throw away the solar farm. The solar farm should have been, the solar project should have been up and running by now, and would have provided base load for the country at peak.
That's what I was just going to.
Oh, I'm sorry, Tom.
Because far too long and time has due that the solar farm, and I wouldn't even say solar farm, which is one, solar farms that could be launched throughout the country where necessary, because we are a sunshine, well prudent in sunshine, to put solar farms. And probably solar farm could have probably run 80% of the country. I have solar panels on my roof, and it is very fruitful. Okay, it lower my electricity to zero. Okay, all I have to do is pay the standing charge just to have the connection, and it's moving good. Okay, so electricity is more rampant for me than gas or any other kind of fossil fuel. Then move on to the geothermal. Okay, we could have been self-resilient, yes, and we could have been supplying energy to the islands around the areas. But they are not doing nothing because they are not proactive. They don't understand this damn thing. They don't. They are just talking. Okay? They have too much things on the way. And yet still they have not arrived yet. They should have done arrive. Okay? What are they waiting for? Why they are not arriving? Look, this is a network of archaeology. A network of archaeology and talk, and nothing done. Bring the things from what's on the way so that everybody can see and move forward. The country infrastructure need to be upgraded. You're wasting time traveling too much. Okay. Study what's going on into the country. Okay. Study what's going on into the country. Anyway, Patches, I have another chapter to come with. I will yield here, but cut the archaeology out and bring common sense. Use common sense. Don't use university or bachelor master degree technology. Use common sense.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Appreciate your time.
Appreciate your contribution as well. Hello, Ian. I just found out that there are 2 other government ministers who are not paying their social security for workers they had, and none is mentioning them. I know one. I cannot believe that this government has so many buildings which can be repaired and occupied and stop out their large amounts of money for renting private properties. I cannot understand why the situation at the hospital is in such problems, and something has to be done, because Jew is the Minister of Health and he has not done anything to improve the system. The pace of health is just walking around the hospital as though he is a journalist and looking news to write a story. I am so sorry that I came back to live here in St. Kitts, as things are so bad that it appears that even school children look as though they are fed up going to school, and this country is so depressing that it really makes everyone sick and fed up. I think that Mr. Nisbet was wrong to take back his gun from the Commissioner of Police, because they could have done anything with a gun and make it point to him. I think that Mr. Nisbet should levy a suit against the Commissioner of Police, and he could have said that there was a misunderstanding. Sick and fed up. I hate to be a Kittitian right now. Reads this email. I do not understand how a government like Labour could possibly say they care for the people while they drive the country deeper in poverty. It is not one sensible person from number 1 to number 8 in the Labour government. The Labour government is a cursed government, and so is the country. But as soon as they move, the weight will be lifted. With this email. Good night, Patches. I would like to know how much longer the water crisis in Chadwell will go on. Mr. Maynard, this is overbearing. 4 a.m. at morning is too early, in my opinion. Most residents are in bed. I say 5 a.m. is better to turn on the water. And this other email reads, good night, Patches. Since before school closed in April, Sadler Secondary School is without a working phone and internet. The teachers have to use their personal phones to make calls that should be done on the school phone. Time for this to end. The school will soon have a new name, so it needs to be brought up to speed like other schools. And this other email reads, Edinburgh on the radio station trying to make Labour look good. Is a whole heap of people will be in hell in a red shirt or hat. He is the one who have Labour there. Look at the state the country is in. To say he's an advisor. So many advisors are not one of them smart enough to be talking about smart anything. Caller, you're live. Hello, caller?
Yeah, good evening, Mr. Liburd, man. How you doing, man?
I am peaceful, my brother. Yourself?
Yeah, pretty good. Yeah, thanks that caller there with the engineering expertise. I appreciate that tonight. Yeah, man, it's a lot to talk about every time you come on the airwaves, man.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I just want the people of the Federation. Anyway, before I go forward, just a reminder, man, you know, September month has come and gone. You know, some people in the Federation just seems like they like to live up to their name. But we can't get away from this month. There's an important date coming up this month in the Federation, right, Patches? October 25th, I think that is.
Oh, that's the case?
yeah, you
I
know,
was wondering.
pay attention.
I was wondering if it was the 25th. I thought about it today. I will ask a question about it tomorrow. God's spare.
Yeah, keep us posted on that, man, please.
Will do.
Yeah. While we on the energy topic, you know, once upon a time, I thought to myself that being that St. Nevis is so small, maybe we will do good with the electric cars. And with that said, our leaders going abroad to all of these meetings and stuff, you know, they're on these planes every week. They should try to negotiate, bring in the batteries for the electric cars, like one of those plants, like one of those big car manufacturers. We should have been able to capture one of those big car manufacturers and have them put up two plants or one plant. I don't know, maybe two plants, one in Nevis, one in Sinkers, to manufacture and produce those electric batteries for those electric cars. And then we would have them roll out a line of cars for our federation. You know, that would have been a good look for the, you know, alternative energy agenda.
Okay.
But, you know, one quality that I want to add to I think two callers try to put some qualities on our leaders. And, you know, I just want our leaders to just have some integrity. Simple as that. And different than that, I just want people in the Federation to start realizing that the monies are not getting down to the common working people. You know, with the inflation and the rise of cost of living and all of that, it's killing the poor people in the Federation. And it's sad to see that this government has taken away all those social programs.
Okay.
You know, they rewind all of those things that they had in the manifesto about the promises, increasing the money for the social programs and all of that stuff. They have taken all of that back.
Okay.
And one thing in particular, real quickly before I get off, that has been striking me is the fact that all of that money that they collected through that CBI program only went to the politicians, the lawyers, and the agents selling the passports.
Okay.
Those money did not trickle down to the common working class. And we can't see the development. We can't see nothing symbolic in terms of the development in both islands.
Okay.
We are pushing this geothermal in Nevis, but I know I heard one of the ministers screamed out, and he was asking for that solar plant to get going. And if they had pushed that solar plant, they probably would have had that on the grid by now.
Okay.
But anyway, man, you guys have a good night, and I'll keep it there for now. Thanks a lot, man.
Thanks for your contribution. I'll perhaps make this my final call for the night. Caller, thank you for holding.
Good night, Mr. Liburd.
Good night, my brother. How about thou?
I am blessed. And good night to culture, manners, and also all those who that normally call in. Mr. Liburd, I want to ask a question. Every time I listen to the Prime Minister, someone asks him a question, rather than saying, school is on the way, this is on the way. It's most like everything they ask him is on the way. I'd like him to come and let us know which part in Secret that these things are on the way. Because since they're going into office, they're trying to squeeze the poor people from the $500 what Dr. Timothy Harris have given us, which they say they're going to give us $1,500, and no, we cannot even see $250. And it is a shame, a body shame, every minute they're on a plane, going to these places, and not coming back to report to the people. And it's time enough that we stand up and say enough is enough. Because one of the ministers, the number one, went to a certain place and brought them chairs and desks for the care and school. But why he don't come and tell us how much those things had cost? And presently the person that sent down these chairs and desks from Miami wanted their money, and they cannot get their money. So I am asking the minister number one, please, to send the lady money because she didn't have to do it. She did it because of kindness. And you're using the woman because the figure of the woman is doing something for the nation. She did it, but please to give the lady her money because she needs her money to pay her workers. And stop going around and boasting about XYZ. Y'all is not doing anything. Y'all fool us up as much as possible about water and electricity, and we're not seeing nothing coming out of y'all. I want people to know, when I come on the radio, I do not have nothing against anybody. Because I used to work over at Port Zante, which is called the Urban Development Corporation, and it is shame and burning shame for the way it is. What Mr. Jason Curtis and Mr. Keith Phillips live over there is in a turmoil.
Okay.
You seldom have security over there, and over there is in a darkness. You used to have an electrician called Molly, and a plumber from up Newton, near Somerton. They get rid of them, bringing in the government to do the bidding over at Port Zante. And the board is supposed to stand up and say, no, this is a corporation. We're supposed to have people to come and do the job, not take government workers to come to work over there.
Okay.
We need to stand up and speak out.
Okay. Thanks a lot, my dear brother.
Enough is enough. Port Zante is not like before when I started to work over there. It is gone down to the drain.
Got you, my brother. Thanks a lot for...
And you know,
yes.
Go over there and check and see how things going. But everything's gone straight down to the drain. Much politics in this country. We need Dr. Timothy Harris in the Federation. You have a pleasant night.
Have a pleasant night as well. Thanks for your contribution. And that's the way we're going to end it for tonight, my Straight Talk family. And yes, as the quotation from that lady, I think it was our first caller, states, someone mentioned about leaders, and the quotation was, we need leaders not in love with money, but in love with justice. Not in love with publicity, but in love with humanity. That's our quotation for tonight. We need leaders not in love with money, but in love with justice. Not in love with publicity, but in love with humanity. Always welcome those quotations from that lady. And as we wrap tonight's programming, our thesis we titled Bombastic Konris Discloses Chaotic Energy Plan. And yes, for those who are asking, we had our 28th murder last night in Nevis, sadly. My Straight Talk family, it seemed not about to end. But when one listens to the soca engineer Konris Maynard, as I said, he comes across like an inflated rhetorical showman, always full of politics, as we say in colloquial parlance or language, and high-sounding speeches but with little meaning or depth. Like his other cabinet colleagues, he leaves his audiences with a sense of disillusionment as their words tend to be empty promises or vague ideals. The soca engineer often prioritizes this new style of politics over substance. He tells lies to mask the lack of genuine commitment or understanding of the issues at hand. A typical example of this inflated rhetorical showmanship by the soca engineer Konris Maynard at the official commissioning ceremony of the 6 megawatt rented power plant at Nevis, my Straight Talk family. He tried to convince or persuade his audience that renting these generators and investment in fixed capacity was a significant step forward in the July's ongoing efforts to enhance the island's electrical infrastructure and meet the growing demands for fixed generation, my Straight Talk family. He said this.
Against the backdrop of present and emerging urgent daily power and energy needs for continuity of socio-economic functions on the island of St. Kitts, it is understood that Skelec must continue to operate and maintain its existing fleet of diesel generators until the sustainable energy transition has been fully achieved. It is important to note, however, that the recently renegotiated and reconfigured solar power and battery energy storage project, which by my understanding should be ready to start before end of year, does not eliminate the need for further investments in fixed generation capacity at the power station.
And my Straight Talk family, in a convoluted attempt to justify the poor judgment of this July administration, the so-called engineer intricately twisted his argument for the procurement of a new generator.
In fact, the solar project, along with the battery, is intended to supply about 12 to 14 hours of baseload power per day. This then means that the other 10 to 12 hours a day must be supplied fully by the fixed generation capacity at the power plant. To address the woefully inadequate generation capacity at the power plant, the government, through the Ministry of Public Utilities, which I lead, has secured a USD 40 million concessionary funding from the Saudi Fund for Development toward the procurement, construction, and operation of an 18 megawatt dual fuel power plant coupled with battery energy storage system. As Jonathan mentioned. The agreement has been signed and the work progresses towards all necessary procurement with expected completion in another 24 to 30 months.
And he said concessionary funding. It's a loan. Don't be fooled. A loan of US $40 million. Yes, EC $108 million, my Straight Talk family, as a result of his incompetence and his attempt for 2 years and more to frustrate the construction of that solar farm. My Straight Talk family, note, as the minister said, by my understanding are his words, the project should be ready to start before the end of 2024. But this would be an 18-month project that will be completed in June 2026. The 18 megawatt generation plant is expected to be installed in 24 or 30 months, which puts us in March or April 2027. My Straight Talk family, that's why he said generators will be rented for 12 months, my Straight Talk family. He said 12 months, listen to him, 12 months in the first instance. What does he mean by that?
Thus, as we work toward that new 18 megawatt plant, plus the urgent need to service and overhaul our generators that have been overrun and are on the verge of collapse, plus the vulnerability of the aged generators, plus the fact that the solar farm will not be able to cover and is not intended to cover 24 hours of service, it is imperative to implement a reliable temporary supply in order for Skelec to successfully achieve its goals. It is in this vein that Skelec has entered into a 6 megawatt rental power agreement with world-class energy solutions provider Agreco for a 12-month period in the first instance, during which Skelec will perform much-needed critical overhauls on the bulk of its fixed generator fleet.
And my Straight Talk family, he fabricates again. Because when we look at the actual capacity of the generation sets and the age, it is quite clear that most of the generators there are still within their lifespan, my Straight Talk family. But he wants to spend $10.5 million US dollars, so he tries to justify doing that.
The government staunchly committed to continuously improving the quality of life for the people of St. Kitts and Nevis, and in particular in St. Kitts through access to reliable electricity, has guaranteed full financial absorption of all costs associated with this 12-month Skelec Agreco 6 megawatt rental agreement to the tune of approximately $10.5 million.
So $10.5 million, and we can estimate that they'll be needed for 3 years. $30 million and more. That's costing more than the actual solar farm, which should have been already implemented. My Straight Talk family, this is highway robbery. Having listened to the SOCA engineer, as we get prepared for COP29, we must ask ourselves what we as a country can outline and communicate as our post-2020 climate actions, known as our NDCs. We need to pressure this government. We need change. We need to reconsider and take a stance. My Straight Talk family, geothermal won't be delivered when one considers the performance or non-performance of a snake, Mark Brantley. We cannot forget the legacy issues attached to the development of geothermal. But compare the snake, my Straight Talk family, with this inflated rhetorical showman and SOCA engineer, Konris Maynard, who lacks depth and our substance, and our future are in the hands of the wrong leaders. And we will get no place, my Straight Talk family. Again, I'll leave you with the quotation. We need leaders not in love with money, but in love with justice. Not in love with publicity, but in love with humanity. My Straight Talk family, it's of great concern that we have this bombastic Konris who disclosed a chaotic energy plan, unofficial as it may be. But those are my words. That's my story tonight, I should say, my Straight Talk family, and I am not going to change it. But I would thank Almighty God for guiding our conversation tonight, as always. I want to thank you, the many of you who listened, those of you who sent emails, and those of you who called. Remember, the listeners, the viewers, the emailers, and the callers, all of you, every one of you, make Straight Talk. And for that reason, I say a big, big thank you. So until we connect on Thursday for another edition of Straight Talk, be good to yourselves, my Straight Talk family, and to all whom you meet. Remember, whatever your mind conceive, that you will achieve. But first of all, you got to believe. So when you wake in the morning, thank God for the morning light. Thank Him for taking you through the night. And my Straight Talk family, keep moving on. Bye-bye. Until we connect on Thursday.
The morning, I thank God for the morning light.